Hi friends, in this video I will try to give you a detailed point-wise guide to 10 important literary terms connected to poetry. I will discuss the remaining literary terms in another video. This video is part 1. We will talk about the first literary term, that is alliteration. Now what is alliteration? The repetition of the same consonant sound at the beginning of nearby words is called alliteration. And what is the purpose of alliteration in poetry? It creates a musical effect in poems, and it also emphasizes certain words in poems. Also, alliteration makes lines memorable. For example, we'll see this line: she sells seafood by the shore of the sea. S 3S 4 5. Okay, so this is an example of alliteration. The first letters, they start with S to create a musical effect. Then we have another example: the silver stars shine softly. Another one: the wild winds whispered. So these are again then another example from poetry, from the rhyme of the ancient mariner by Coleridge. From here also we have an example of alliteration. The fair breeze blew and the white foam flew. So you can see in each of these lines, the first letters are the same to create this lyrical musical effect in the lines, and that is what is alliteration. The repetition of the same consonant sound. This S, W, F, these are all consonant sounds. The repetition of the same consonant sound at the beginning of nearby words is called alliteration. The next literary term that we are going to study today is assonance. Now what is assonance? The repetition of vowel sounds in nearby words is called assonance. And what is the purpose of assonance in poetry? Assonance creates internal rhythm in poems. It also adds softness or harmony in poems. Now let us look at this example. Hear the mellow wedding bells. This is a line, these are words from Edgar Allan Poe's poem, The Bells. So we see the repetition of the E sound here. Okay, so this is an example of assonance. Other examples are: the rain in Spain stays mainly in the plain. So we can see the repetition of A here in this line. And then another example: go slow over the road. O is being repeated here in almost every word. So this is an example of assonance, repetition of vowel sounds in nearby words. This is called assonance. Next literary term, consonance. Now what is consonance? The repetition of consonant sounds within or at the end of words. This is called consonance. Now let us look at some examples. Blank and think, the lumpy bumpy road, pitter patter, stroke of luck. So K here, then P, R, and again K. These are all consonant sounds. So the repetition of consonant sounds within or at the end of words is called consonance. So you can see this is consonant sound is repeated within words. This is K and this is K here. Here it is repeated at the end. Pitter, R is repeated at the end of the words. Then here in the middle and here at the end. So these are examples of consonants. So the next literary term is rhyme. We all know what is a rhyme, but basically it is the similarity of sound between words, usually at line endings, and this is called as rhyme. We have different types of rhyme like end rhyme, internal rhyme, slant rhyme. So twinkle twinkle little star, how I wonder what you are. Star rhymes with R. So this is an example of end rhyme. So then other examples are light, night, day, play. So these are again rhyming words. So this is very easy to understand literary term rhyme. Next we come to another literary term called rhythm. Now what is rhythm? The beat or flow created by stressed and unstressed syllables is called rhythm. Now what is the purpose of rhythm in poetry? It gives movement to poetry, it shows the action actually, and then it can imitate emotions or actions. Now look at this interesting example. Tiger, tiger, burning bright. Burning bright. This is an example of some action, serious action going on. So this is taken from William Blake's poem The Tiger. So a strong beat in a poem, it creates intensity in the poem. So that is why rhythm is used. Some other examples are, I walked along the silent street. So this is another line with rhythm. Then let us look at one more example. The drum beat loud and clear. So this also shows action. Then we have meter. Now what is meter? Meter is a fixed rhythmic pattern in poetry. And the common types of meter are iambic pentameter, trochaic meter, and anapestic meter. So one example we'll see here of iambic pentameter. It is used here. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? This is from Shakespeare's poem, from a Shakespearean sonnet. So this is also an example of meter. Then we come to imagery. So another literary term in poetry is imagery, very important term. Imagery refers to the language that appeals to the senses like sight, sound, smell, taste and touch. Now examples of imagery are, like one example we have here, the golden daffodils fluttering and dancing in the breeze. This is an important image or imagery from William Wordsworth's poem, I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud. So this is an example of visual imagery in this poem. Some more examples we have, like the cold snow glittered under moonlight. So this is an example because when we read this line, we can imagine what the scene can be. We can get a picture of this. Similarly, look at this. Fresh bread filled the warm kitchen with smell. So this is also another example of imagery. Now we will take a look at two more literary terms, simile and metaphor. These are very common in poetry. So first we will see what is a simile. A simile is comparison using like or as, and that is called as simile. For example, if in a line we see like, my love is like a red rose. So love is being compared to a red rose. So this is an example of simile. This is from Robert Burns. Some other examples of simile can be busy as a bee, cold like ice. So these are other examples of simile. Then we have metaphor. Metaphor is direct comparison without using like or as. Metaphor is also comparison like simile, but we don't use like or as. We compare one thing to another directly. For example, time is a thief. So we are not saying time is like a thief, we are directly saying that time is a thief. So that is an example of metaphor. The classroom was a zoo. Then life is a journey. So these are again more examples of metaphor. The last literary term for today's video is personification. So what is personification? Giving human qualities to non-human things is called personification. For example, the wind whispered through the trees. This is an example of personification. Wind is non-human being, but wind is not human, but we are giving it a human direction by saying that, a human dimension, by saying that the wind is whispering through the trees. That means it is acting like a human being. So this, we are giving up the shape of a person to the wind. So this is called as personification. And other examples are, the moon smiled down on us. So the moon is non-human, but we are but it is being given a human understanding. So that is another example of personification. The leaves, non-human, but again the leaves are personified. They are compared to the wind. They are personified and being we are made to understand that they are acting like human beings and dancing. So the leaves dance in the wind. So this is again another example of personification. So this video is number 1 on this topic, related to literary terms. I will be uploading part 2 very soon. Subscribe to the channel, friends. Drop your comments and I'll see you soon. Bye.